Good afternoon, friends. I hope you're all well. As you practice today, please listen to your body, and if your body says don't do something, please don't do it. As you're practicing the poses, please try and breathe with them, but don't force your breath while doing so. If it doesn't feel natural to you, please be careful and don't do it. If you haven't already, it's a good idea to check with your physician to make sure that the practice of yoga is right for you. The practice that I would like to do today is for backbends, just basic backbends. As you practice them, please remember to take your time going in and out of the pose. If something does not feel right to you, please don't do it. And as you practice and you're bending your back, please try and have your spine lengthen equally as you do the bend. Try to keep from bunching up in one area in the back. And because your spine goes along with the ribs for most of the way, there's going to be a portion in your back where you're not going to have much of a back bend. So please don't try and force a back bend where you can't really have one. And when you come to the lower part of your back, the lower lumbar region, try to make sure that your spine is lengthening there equally, not scrunched up in one particular area. And as you come out of the back bend, please come out of the back bend slowly. Don't worry if you are out of sync with what I'm doing. You can always review the video and do things at your own pace. I will post along with this afterwards the names of the various poses in case you decide that you want to practice them by yourself. And as you practice, if you decide you want to have a drink or something like that, have a drink. If you want to blow your nose, blow your nose. Please don't feel like you have to keep in time with what is going on. After all, this is your practice, and you may practice as you wish. The first pose that we're going to do is Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. So to begin, please come onto all fours into a tabletop position. Pause for a moment, then scoot yourself down. Now, ideally the toenails are on the mat. But if you feel that you want to have your toes curled under to begin with, feel free to do that. Especially if you get a cramp in the arch of your foot or something like that. So, very gently, having the hands beside you, having the hands beside the breastbone, your elbows in towards you, lift yourself up. Now, if in the beginning you want to keep your knees down, please feel free to keep your knees down. Come up onto the toes, then allow yourself just to roll forwards a little bit. Now, make any subtle adjustments your body suggests. If you find that your shoulders are too far forward from your wrists, come back down and just move your body back a little bit. Lengthen the spine. Lift the collarbones up, drop the top part of the shoulders down, gently squeeze the buttocks together, lengthening your spine. Keep the chin tucked a little bit so you can feel the back of the neck lengthening. Relax the face. Keep the arms strong. Breathe. And then bring your knees down. Bring the buttocks back towards the heels for a basic Balasana, repose of the child. Bring your head to the floor. If your head won't go to the floor, please take a block and put a block down and just rest your head on the block. Or if you don't want to use the block and you can use your hands or you can use your fists, please feel free to do that. Your knees can be together or apart, whichever happens to work for you today. One day it may be one way, the other day it may be the other way. But the thing is to listen to what your body is telling you, and don't force yourself into a pose. If you can hold on to your feet and let the shoulders hang down a little bit, do that. But only hold your feet for about 10 or 15 seconds and then release the hands. You don't want to overstrain the shoulder blades. Now, coming up out of the pose, draw the hands up beside the knees and press the hands down, bringing yourself comfortably up. Conversely, if you have a longer body, some people do have longer bodies than the length of their legs, you may find that the hands are rather underneath the shoulders rather than beside the knees. So if the hands are underneath the shoulders, just use the hands to bring you up. But the main thing is you're using the strength in your arms to bring you up. You're not using your back to bring you up. Now the next pose that we're going to do is Salamba Asana, the locust pose. So again, come into all fours. Then bring your torso down onto the mat. Again, with the toenails should be on the mat. But if you're getting cramp in the arch of your feet and you want to have the soft part of the toes on the mat, do that for the time being. The arms come beside you. So, there are a number of ways that you can do this. You can lift the legs up and keep the torso on the floor. You can lift the trunk up and keep the legs on the floor. Or you can lift the legs and the torso off the floor. Or you could just not do the pose. It's entirely up to you. So again, remembering that you want to lengthen your spine comfortably, please imagine that the crown of the head has an imaginary string on it. It's being gently pulled forwards, and that your toenails and your toes are trying to reach the wall behind you. So there's a gentle stretch going on throughout the body. And again, only hold this so long as it's comfortable. When it ceases to be comfortable, please come out of the pose. The palms eventually will be facing upwards. So, please begin. Exhaling, lift the torso and the legs up, or just the legs, or just the torso. Lengthen the spine gently. The toes are reaching out behind you. The crown of the skull is pointing gently towards the ceiling, where the wall and the ceiling meet. Keep your spine comfortably lengthening. Allow the tummy muscles to engage. Please remember to breathe. And again, only hold this so long as you want to. This is not a competition. And don't make it a competition with yourself either. Listen to your body. Your body from time to time will make suggestions on how to practice the pose. I suggest you try them, but always be careful when you make a major change to a pose. And then come down. Relax the shoulders, relax the torso. Draw the hands forwards. Rest your chin on the hands. And just bring the legs up and windshield wiper the legs back and forth a little bit. Allowing the spine to relax a little. And then come to a stop. Bring the legs down. Draw the hands underneath the shoulders and push yourself back. and we'll do Balasana, repose of the child again. If you find that you would rather not do Balasana, repose of the child, and you want to do Ananda Balasana, the happy baby pose, where you're laying on your back, holding onto your shins or knees or feet, please feel free to do so. In this case, I'm going to do Ananda Balasana. But if you want to do the happy baby pose instead, the repose of the child, please feel free to do that. So, to do Ananda Balasana, lay down, let your spine be comfortable on the floor, then draw the feet up, draw the knees towards you, and apply a gentle pressure. Notice the lower back lengthening a little bit. So long as it's comfortable, that's fine. If you want to, you could take your hands and put the hands on the insides of the legs, wrapping the arms around from the outsides, then holding on to the outsides of the feet with the fingers. Your head must be on the ground. Don't do it if your head is coming off the ground. This is a very comfortable pose at the right time. This is a very nice hip opener, and I encourage you to do it providing your body feels like doing it. Now, if you want to come up, you can cross the legs over and just roll yourself up. Or you could come up the traditional way, rolling over onto the right-hand side and using your arms and legs to bring you up to a comfortable position. The next pose that we're going to do is Bhujangasana, the cobra pose. Again, please lay down on your tummy. Again, toenails are on the mat unless you're getting a cramp in your feet. Try to have the feet together. Think of the legs as being a cobra's tail, so it's nice and strong and firm. Have the hands beside your chest. When you're ready to, keeping the elbows and the arms in along the sides of the chest, not sticking out towards the sides. The fingers are generally pointing forwards. Press the first and second finger firmly into the mat and the thumb as well. Then exhaling, bring yourself up, squeeze the buttocks a little bit, lengthen your spine comfortably, allow the spine to adjust. Tuck the chin a little bit, breathe. Don't overdo it. Keep your breathing. Keep your spine comfortably extending. Come out of this when you're ready to. And then come down. Move the hands beside you. And then bring the hands up. Push yourself back and either do Ananda Balasana, the happy baby pose, or Balasana, repose of the child, whichever is your preference. And remember, if you're doing repose of the child, the knees can be together or apart, but I want the head to rest on something, not just to be floating in the air. If your head is floating in the air and it's not resting on something, you're going to start lengthening the back of your neck and crimping the back of the neck. And you don't want to do that. So you want to have the head so the head is resting comfortably on something. It could be a towel, it could be a blanket, it could be a block, it could be a bigger block. If you have a book that you want to use, you could use a book instead. So please practice the way that feels comfortable to you right now. Have the arms in a comfortable position. Now move the hands beside you. The hands are pressing beside the knees or underneath the shoulders, and using the strength in your arms, not your back. The strength in your arms bring you up. The next pose that we're going to do is Ustrasana, the camel pose. You can use a block if you like for the camel pose. You could use 2 blocks if you like for the camel pose. You don't have to use a block at all. You don't have to do the pose at all. So, to begin with, come up onto your knees. Have the knees about hip width apart, or whatever is a comfortable distance for you. If you're going to use a block, put the block in between the legs, rather by the heels. You can always adjust it when you're in the pose. Put your hands on the buttocks as if you were wearing jeans and you had your fingers in the jean pocket. And then just gently press into the lower back, into the hips, allowing the lower back to lengthen. Keeping the legs strong. The toenails are pressing into the mat. And then bring your hands down, and you can rest them on the block if you like. Or you could move the block down like that. Or if you wanted to, you could simply put your hands on your heels. Or remember, if you don't want to do it at all, please don't do it. Leaning back, lengthening the spine. Bring one hand down onto the heel. Next hand down onto the heel. Lengthen your back. Keep the legs strong. The shoulders are rolling a little bit. The eyes remain open. Breathe. Don't hold on to your breath. And then come out of the pose. Move one hand to the buttock, other hand to the buttock. Bring yourself up. Then sit down. Roll onto your back. For Ananda Balasana, the happy baby pose. Begin by just holding onto your shins, feeling the pull on the lower part of the back, gentle pull. You're not squashing the legs down, you're just letting the natural weight of the hands to bring the knees down a little bit. If this is as far as you want to go, that's fine. Otherwise, take the hands, wrap the hands on the insides of the legs. The fingers are on the outsides of the feet. The arms go around the insides of the legs. The feet point out to the sides. They don't point directly in front of you. The feet follow along with the direction the knees are going in. Unless you've had damage to your ankles or to your knees, and they won't do that. And then bring yourself up, either the conventional way or by crossing the legs and bringing yourself up. Now the next pose that we're going to do is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, the bridge pose. Please remember with the bridge pose, when you practice it, that the strength is coming from the legs, not necessarily from the back. So all the lifting that's happening of the hips happens with the legs. Your arms will be a support on the floor. Your spine lengthens comfortably, equally along the spine, allowing for the differences in the different parts of the spine. Please do not overdo it. Please keep the arms on the floor and keep the arms strong. And with the knees, with the legs, try and have the shins so the shin is straight up and down. But when you practice, be mindful of what's happening around this area of the knee. If you find that there's a great deal of tension there, bring your hips down and either move the legs out a little bit further or move them in a little bit more. Either way is allowable, and it also depends on what's going on with your knees. If your knees don't like it, don't do it. If you have problems with your knees, please be very careful about doing this. You could also, if you find that your arms are feeling a little short today, you could take a strap or a belt or a thicker rope and put it around your shins and hold on to the strap instead of holding on to the shins to begin with. It is entirely up to you. And like I said, if you don't want to do this, please don't do it. So, lay yourself down. Find your equilibrium. Make sure your back feels comfortable, your hips, thighs, and buttocks are equally weighted, your shoulders are equally weighted, and draw the feet back. Have the shins so they're straight up and down, or a little further in, or a little further out, depending on your knees. Make sure you feel comfortable. Make sure the knees are going straight up, not out to the sides. If they go out to the sides, you're going to put torque on the knees, so please don't do that. Pressing down with the big toes, engaging the feet, lift the hips up. As you do it, just a little bit, notice how the knees feel. Do they feel fine? If they do, continue up until you reach a comfortable spot for you, then slide the hands underneath and roll the shoulders under. Then when you found balance there, where you feel comfortably weighted, put the hands on the floor. So the thumb may be touching the heel, the fingers may be touching the sides of the heels. If that's the case, that's fine. If it isn't the case, please don't worry about it. And like I said, if you want to use a strap, just have a strap in place so you can hold on to it. Press down with the hands, lift the hips up using the strength from the legs. Now, as you lift the hips up, you'll notice that your head starts to cling against the floor, against the mat. If you move your head, please be very careful when you're moving the head when you're in the middle of a pose. So if you do have to adjust your head, please do it very gently. Keep the hands engaged. The legs are engaged, the big toes are working, the arches in the feet are working. Sides of the feet are pressing down. Listen to your body. And then beginning at the shoulders, start to bring the body down. From the shoulders down to the hips. Keep the hips off the mat as long as you reasonably can. So your hips are essentially rolling up a little bit. And then finally, the hips come down to the mat, relax the buttocks, extend the legs out. Pause for a moment. Don't overstrain. Don't get up too quickly. Allow your body time to adjust. Now, roll over onto the right-hand side and bring yourself up using the elbow and opposite hand. The last pose that we're going to do before Savasana is Janu Sirsasana, just as an opening for the back to help relax the back. If you have a strap, I encourage you to start out with a strap. If you don't, stop the video and go and get something that you can use as a strap. Straps are great tools, especially when you've been doing something like back bends and your back, you may find that your back is feeling a little stiff. It's especially useful then. It's also a good way to start out. Also, if you find that your lower lumbar feels tight, take a block or a towel or a mat and just sit on the block. To begin with, draw the right leg up so the right heel is near the left groin. The left leg is going straight out from you. The right knee is pressing down towards the floor. If it doesn't come down to the floor, that's fine. Take a towel or strap or something and just put it underneath there. You want to have the leg pressing on something. You don't just want the leg to be there. And please keep in mind that although the main focus is going to be on the leg here and on the lower part of the back, you want to keep an eye on the leg that's bent. You want to make sure that that leg is pressing against something, because that action will help to contribute with the pose in general. Your hips are generally square to the front, within reason. The foot is pointing upwards, unless you've had damage to the ankle or to the knee, and it won't do that. Your foot's dorsiflexing back towards you. It's as if the toes are trying to point back to you, so you feel a lengthening in the soleus and gastrocnemius muscles in the calves. The knee is pointing up. To begin with, take the strap and just put the strap over the ball of the foot. The strap does not go over the arch of the foot or the heel. The torso faces the extended leg. The bent knee is pressing down. Now, as you go forward, I want you to think about it not so much as your torso going down as your chest extending outwards. Don't lead with the chin. A lot of people start leading with the chin as if getting their chin down is going to be the big deal. It isn't. What you do is you lead with the chest, keep the chin slightly tucked and the back of the neck lengthened. Listen to your body. Don't worry about how far you go down. Different days, it's going to be different lengths. And as you've just been working with back bends, and you're doing a forward bend now, you want to be especially careful. So don't push it. This is just a comfortable way to lengthen your back a little bit. The inner part of the leg is rolling in towards the foot. So the left leg is rolling in a little bit towards the right foot. The right foot is pressing against the leg. The right knee is pressing down on the mat. Listen to your body. Let the spine comfortably lengthen. Don't overdo it. Make any subtle adjustments your body suggests. You may find that your hips want to shift when you're in the pose. If they do want to shift a little bit, let them shift. Try it. But like I said, whenever you're deep in a pose, don't make any major adjustments. Always come out of the pose a little bit before you make the adjustment. How is the back of your neck? Does the neck feel tight? If it does, try tucking your chin just a little bit and lengthening the back of the neck a little bit. If that does not help, you are in too deep. Now take one hand, it doesn't matter which hand, and hold the strap with both hands. Or if you're holding on to the foot, draw one hand back and put it down on the floor. Press down with the hand that's on the floor, then release the other hand. Bring the other hand back, and then gently use the hands to bring your torso up, not the back. Please change the position of the feet. You may find you're tighter on one side than you are on the other. Allow your body to adjust as it needs to. If you need to use a block or a towel on the other side, use it. Use it. Remember, if you need to use a prop in a pose that's part of the pose for you, it is not a cheat. And if you go to institutions where they don't want you to use props and things like that, perhaps you should think twice about it. That's just my opinion, mind you. Listen to your body. Lengthen the spine. Keep the chin tucked. Remember, the leg is rolling in towards the left foot. The left knee is pressing into the floor, or into whatever the prop is that you're using. Keep the spine comfortably lengthening. You're leading with the chest. You're not trying to get your head down. You're trying to lead the chest forward towards the foot. The foot is dorsiflexing back towards you and is pointing straight up in line with the knee. Make any subtle adjustments your body suggests. Don't push. Don't go to the very edge of a pose. If you go towards the edge, when you get there, just back off some. It's at the edge where you start hurting yourself. Listen to your body. You may be tighter on this side than you were on the other. And if you haven't practiced in a few days, you're probably tight. Allow yourself to be tight. I generally practice twice a day. Once in the early morning at about 4 o'clock, and then usually in the afternoon about 2. But that's just how it works for me. Not everybody is as lucky as I am. Now, move the strap into one hand, then take the free hand, put it on the floor, press into the hand, release the other hand, draw that back, then use the strength in your arms to bring you up. Remove the strap. We're now going to practice Savasana, the corpse pose. Corpse pose is one of the most important poses, so please don't neglect it. I know some people who feel that the corpse pose is just a waste of time, but actually it isn't. The corpse pose allows your body to figure out what has happened and what adjustments have been made and how to take it all in. So give your body a chance to realize what's been going on. Now please have something to rest your head on. I like to use a block. Some people like to use a towel. Some people like to use a firm pillow. Please use one though. Don't just have your head on the floor. What will happen is if you have a long Shavasana, which unfortunately we won't be able to have here, but if you do have a long Shavasana, you'll find that your head will start to scoot back and your chin will start to move up towards the ceiling. And you'll start crimping the back of your neck, and that's not a good thing to do. So use a block or something just to have your head slightly elevated. And the block is just on the occipital ridge, the bump on the back of the head. It maybe slightly touches the neck, but only slightly. Please don't have a lot of pressure on the neck. So lay down and adjust your legs so the legs are going directly out from the body. The hips, thighs, and buttocks feel comfortable. The shoulders feel comfortable. And if it's comfortable to you, turn the hands up. And perhaps if you're wearing glasses, you may want to take them off so you don't have the pressure on the bridge of the nose. So lay down. Draw the feet back. Adjust yourself so you feel comfortable. Extend the legs out. Rocking side to side a little bit so you're equally weighted. Take the block or whatever you're using as a pillow and just put that underneath the occipital ridge. Take the glasses off if you're using glasses. Try to have it so there isn't anything immediately in your vicinity. I actually like to use a blanket to pull over me. Let your mind go through your body and find any tight spots. Ask those spots to relax. Be mindful of your breathing, but don't interfere the breath. Simply watch the breath as if you were watching a child playing at a distance. Not interfering unless you had to. Now move the hands and the toes. Move your shoulders. Move the legs a little bit. Draw the feet back towards the buttocks. Pause for a moment. Let the back feel comfortable. Then when you're ready to, roll over onto the right-hand side to bring yourself up. Or if for one reason or another you need to go up on the left, please feel free to do that. Please sit on a block for a moment, or on something that will elevate your hips slightly. It could be a book. Sit comfortably cross-legged, or if you want, sitting on a block with your legs extended out. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. Please breathe in and out through the nose, providing that is comfortable to you. Watch the breath go down as you inhale. Only go down as far as it wants to. Then as you exhale, let the breath go up and out. If your nose is feeling stuffy and you need to breathe through your mouth, please feel free to do that. But as a rule, you really do want to breathe through the nose. Allow the spine to relax, the spine to lengthen slightly. Roll your shoulders over. Relax the face. Be aware of the breath as it's going in and as it's going out, but don't interfere with it. Simply follow the breath and keep the roof of the mouth soft. Thank you for coming to the practice. Remain well and enjoy your time.